All right, so today I am joined by Grammy Award-winning music artist Melissa Etheridge. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm fantastic.
Good, good. So, Melissa, first off, tell me, how excited are you for Melissa Etheridge, I'm Not Broken to premiere on Paramount Plus?
Oh, this is a big time for me. I've been thinking about doing something like this since I was a very young girl. It's a long story, but it feels incredible. It's been years in the making, and I'm so proud of it.
Awesome. So, the series centers around your efforts to organize a performance for the women incarcerated at the Topeka Correctional Facility. How did
Mhm.
this project initially come about? How did it begin?
Well, well, it began when I was about 7 years old. And I grew up in Leavenworth, Kansas.
Mhm,
And if you know anything about Leavenworth, you probably heard it in the movies in reference to prisons. We
mhm,
have the federal penitentiary, the army penitentiary, the state, we within five, but there's about five prisons within 20 miles of where I grew up.
okay.
So that was just the culture there.
Mhm,
And when I was about 7 years old, Johnny Cash came to the federal penitentiary that was about 2 blocks from my house.
okay.
And I read in the newspaper that he was there. Now no one else could see him, only the prisoners. He was not in the city, didn't do anything else.
Mhm.
And I thought at that point that wow, prisons must be a place of great entertainment. But a few years later, I actually was in a variety show when I was younger, singing songs and stuff with other kind of acts. And we went to the prisons, all five of them, and the response that I got from the audiences was the response that they gave to everyone was so enthusiastic, so appreciative. And it just showed that these people were so hungry for entertainment because we weren't that good. And, and they were just really, I could see that. And it really impressed upon me at a young age that these are just people. These are
Mhm.
just normal people who've made, the choices, and there they were. So as I got older and as I became a professional musician, I always wanted to go back and perform at the prison somehow.
Mhm.
And actually, in the 90s, I had spoken to Tammy Wynette, and we were working on getting something, her and I, together. And then she passed away.
Mhm.
And so I've always had it on my mind. And when I changed management about 10 years ago, I told them, I said, this is high on my list. I really want to do this for however we can do it. I want to do a concert at
Yeah.
the women's penitentiary.
Mhm.
Well, when we finally got a production team involved about 4 years ago, they they instantly were interested. It was Shark Pig, and it was just a small company, and they started getting it together. They reached out to the warden at the penitentiary in Kansas. They were supportive of it, and over the last few years, it's taken a while to
Mhm.
really. It took a good couple 3 years for it to all get going,
Yeah.
and then we finally got a date that we were going to do it, and went in and did it. And I started exchanging letters with some women that were at the penitentiary at that time,
Okay.
knowing that we were going to do this, and they were very brave, and they let us film their
Mhm.
life stories and their experience.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, bonding with the women through the conduit of music. I mean, how meaningful was that for you personally? And how meaningful was it to them as well?
It well, I hope it was meaningful for them. It seemed to be. For
Yeah.
me, it was an incredible experience, one of really opening my eyes to how much just drug issues and emotional issues there are in prison. There's not a whole lot of punishing bad people. It's people
Mhm.
that were punishing themselves
Yeah.
and trying to get out of pain from early childhood trauma. And that is the majority of what is behind, especially in a women's prison
Hmm.
that's locked up. And it really had an impact on me when I saw these women, some of whom had never seen a concert, some of whom but it had been decades, and
Hmm.
they were enjoying the music. So music is so healing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Would you say that this is your most important project yet to date?
Most important, I don't know. I've done a lot of important things, and important is, in the eye of the beholder, but it certainly was one of the most meaningful things I've ever done.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, in addition to female incarceration, like you said, the docuseries explores themes of redemption, trauma, healing, substance abuse. You yourself, you lost your son in 2020 from
Mhm.
opioids. By talking with these women, did you like, I guess, gain a better understanding on the cycle and the horror of addiction?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I mean, any family that's going through this knows it doesn't just oops automatically just accidentally happen one day or something.
Yeah.
It's a long process and a slow downhill ride,
Mhm.
and it 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 actually was very, very good for me to go in there and see the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women who
Mhm.
were affected by by drug addiction, and how hard it is, and how it's so insidious because it numbs your pain.
Yeah.
And these women are in a lot of pain from early childhood trauma,
Mhm.
and the drugs numb your pain. And then you make choices because you want more drugs because you don't want the pain, and then those
Yeah.
choices, and you know, there you are behind bars. So that was really to see so many that were in that situation. And I got to tell you, one of my favorite and most touching parts of the concert was when I told was telling them about my son,
Mhm.
and these women who have it so hard, have all their freedoms taken away, they can't see their children or anything, showed such compassion for me. And they put the little hearts over their heads. They were doing this to me,
Mhm.
to to show me empathy to me. And that almost laid me out right there. It was just really, really moving.
Yeah, such a special moment. Yes. And I'm Not Broken is the name of the original song you wrote in honor of these women.
Yes, it was it's something I set out to do from the very beginning. I said I want to write a song so that it in the concert I can say, "Hey, this is for you. This is something I created by being inspired by you."
Mhm.
And I'm real happy with it. The documentary actually shows me trying to write it over a course of a few months,
Okay.
and it finally comes together because I didn't want it to be sad. I didn't want it to be, you know, I feel sorry for you. I didn't want it to be patronizing or
Mhm.
anything like that. So I wanted it to be strong. I wanted them to be able
Yeah.
to sing it with me and get you know, strength from it and power.
Mhm, for sure. And you are very well known to reflect and address current events in your work. Has that always been important to you?
Well, it's been something that the artists that I have appreciated and loved throughout my life, they were the ones who did that. The Bruce Springsteens, the
Mhm.
Bob Dylans, the Joni Mitchells, these songwriters that I always thought, okay, that's what I want to do, and that's what they did. So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Awesome. Yes, yes. Is there anything else you ultimately hope audiences take away from this docu-series?
I hope they're moved. I
Mhm.
hope maybe it changes hearts and minds about what people might have thought prisons are for,
Mhm.
and and the people that are in prisons, maybe it changes their minds about how they think about drug addiction,
Mhm.
and certainly how it can happen to anyone that makes a couple of bad choices. And you know, maybe some empathy can start, and maybe some change then from that.
Mhm, for sure. I mean, a lot of these women are so often forgotten by society, and women incarceration is up, I think I read like 700% since the 1980s. Why do you think this is such a serious issue? Why do you think these women are so often forgotten?
Well, because uh, women uh, sometimes kind of have a hard way to start in the first place, especially if they come from homes with abuse in them,
Yeah.
and then their own self-esteem is so incredibly low, and that then the drug addiction certainly helps with all that, and then that's what ends them up in prison. So um, I'm hoping that this will maybe shine a light on how we can maybe put another alternative in there instead of just locking people up. We can actually look for treatment for this.
Mhm, for sure. Definitely. I agree. Do you have any new music, upcoming tours, or other Any other docuseries we should be on the lookout for?
Well, no, one at a time with the docuseries, but I have an album that is a part of the docuseries in that the concert was recorded and it's on Sun Records and it will be released July 12th. It's called I'm Not Broken, Melissa Etheridge at the live from the Topeka Correctional Facility. It's a whole big long title, but yeah, it's the soundtrack to this, and I'm also touring with it. So check melissaetheridge.com because I'm touring with Jewel, touring with Indigo Girls. I'm doing all kinds of shows.
Oh, fantastic. And you're also on social media as well?
Oh, that's me all over social
All
media.
over, perfect. All right. Then, Melissa, before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you would like to mention or plug at this time?
No, we're doing great. This is enough. This is big, and I'm very excited about it.
All right, perfect.